that moment when you thought you were recording and you totally weren't. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are well and in good spirits whenever it is that this video is meeting you. My name is Patricia, and I'm so glad you decided to stop by. I just wanted to thank you guys, first off, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, for just the wonderful feedback that I've gotten from you guys. And I love the way you guys have been interacting with each other. That has been just amazing to just sort of sit back and to watch that happen as you guys answer each other's questions and suggest things to each other. I think that is awesome and amazing, and it's really developing into this community that I've always I've wanted my YouTube channel to be. So I really appreciate that about you guys, and the fact that you have just been supporting me in this during this transition. I definitely want to thank you. Now, if it's the first time you're tuning in, I do make motivational videos, lifestyle videos, so definitely subscribe if you like that type of content. I have done, I don't know how many videos in my reflection series now, and I can definitely leave the playlist up in the cards for you. I also have a separate motivational playlist that's filled with tons of videos to help you get through your week and to get through your day. So now that we got that all out, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Whew. All right, so on to the meat and the potatoes, you guys. Well, let's start here. These past 2 years have been absolutely intense. Let's use that word, intense, for your girl. Consequently, I have learned, I don't think I've learned more than what I've learned in the past 2 to maybe 3 years than I have my whole life. It's just been crazy. It's just been on turbo. I feel like these past few years I have gone through so many major changes that I think could have, if I would have allowed it to in some places, broke me. Not that what I feel like what I've done is that great or grand or miraculous, but when I look back on the little girl that I was, just terribly unsure, when I think about that person, that little girl that I used to be, and I look at some of the changes that I've gone through the past few years, I just absolutely cannot believe it. I only have God to thank for that, but I also attribute that to the growth that I've made these past few years. And I'm sure you guys can relate to some of these things happening to you as you sort of transition into adulthood. It's interesting because, you know, they say in this country, I think you're an adult when you're what? You're 18, 21, 18, I think. I don't know, one of those ages, but I think it's really in your late 20s walking into your 30s that you realize, I think you really walk into adulthood, especially if you've been living on your own as long as I have. And I've been learning so much, and we could sit here and talk about all the things Patricia has learned, the lessons that life has taught her, that God is teaching her, and things that she learned the hard way, and things she didn't have to learn, but she watched someone else go through, and she's like, I ain't going through that. But the one thing I want to pass on to you today, guys, is something that I'm learning. It's interesting, like I mentioned, as a kid, I always was a bit timid. With the people I was close to, I was able to be open with them. But as younger, I would always hold my opinion back, right? And I think this had to do culturally, you know, how I grew up was like, you know, kids didn't really have an opinion much, you know, like that wasn't, you know, you had no say so, right? And so I grew up sort of believing, you know, that I didn't really have a say so. And as I matriculated through life, I realized that in order to not be taken advantage of, in order to exude strength and confidence, you sort of had to have this way about you, right? You had to say what you felt and say what was on your mind and say, you know, what was on your heart and gave your opinion. And this is what it is, cut and dry, cutthroat, be it as it may, whether it hurts your feelings or not, I'm going to say it type of thing. And I grew up in New York, and that was what was accepted, you know, and I think generally speaking in I would say like the African American culture. I would even expand that to the American culture where that is really appreciated or glorified, because you don't want people to take advantage of you. You want to say what's on your mind, and that's what it is, and you better have tough skin to receive it. And so I started to appreciate that and glorify that as well. But as I gotten older, and I still see a lot of people like that in adulthood, but as I've gotten older, I really realized that, I mean, some of that is true. Don't get me wrong. Don't think you're going to come over here and cross me and treat me any kind of way and talk to me. God will check you. Okay? In the most gentle and direct way, I will check you. But you will not see me acting, for the most part, plumb out of my character, going off on anyone, or fight, God forbid, fighting anyone, Lord. I think them days are over. Because what I've learned is sometimes the hardest part is not saying anything. As a person who has strong intuition, as a person who has strong opinion, that has a really firm ground in her morals and value set, I find it difficult to, sometimes keep my mouth closed. I literally became the complete opposite person that I used to be, in that people used to have to pry their opinion out of me, or pry my opinion out of me, to me just saying anything and everything. But as I've grown up, I've realized that not everything you need to say. Some things people will feel, and some things people will see. And what I've learned about people is, if you really are so grounded in your value set, sometimes you don't need to say anything, because people already can gather your thoughts based on what they know about you. Some of us feel the need to always defend ourselves. Some of us feel the need to always tell people about themselves, or feel the need to degrade people with our words. And we have to be careful of that, because words are so powerful. And I did a video, I think, entitled "Watch Your Words" or something like that. And they're so, so powerful. And what I have found is, as I mentioned, sometimes it's harder. Sometimes the high road is not saying anything at all, rather than opening your mouth to speak on the situation. I am reading the 4 Agreements, right? And the first thing that the book talks about is being impeccable with your words. And I think some of us really need to understand what true spiritual maturity is, in that sometimes it's better to sit back and pray rather than tear them down with your words, whether in front of them or behind them. I think as we go through this journey called life, and from what I've experienced in the past few years, is that you don't always, sorry y'all, have to say something. You don't always have to have an opinion. And you don't always have to go off. Because I'm sure you've realized that, sometimes silence kills, and is a better revenge than going off on someone. But I want you guys to sort of second guess your initial reaction when it comes to, there's tofu and broccoli downstairs if you want some. I want you guys to second guess your initial reaction to things. And some of you guys, this will be an issue, and some of you guys, this will not be an issue. Some of you guys are like, Patricia, my issue is that I don't speak when I'm supposed to speak. Although you guys listen, sometimes, Patricia, I have absolutely too much to say. It's got me in trouble at work. It's got me in trouble in my relationship. It's got me in trouble with my friends. It's just got me in trouble in general. And let me know, which one are you guys? Are you the one that doesn't speak when they're supposed to, or the one that has too much to say? For me, guys, it's sometimes it's real tough. I gotta grip my teeth real tough. And sometimes, people don't need your opinion, right? They just want your love. And sometimes, no matter what you say, someone is still going to feel a certain way about you or do a certain thing to you that is not going to change their hand, that is not going to change their action towards you. And sometimes it's better just to leave, just to walk away. Building my discernment on what I should say, when I should say it, to whom I should say it. Because I mentioned, again, words are so powerful and you just can't release anything out there. So guys, I hope something I said resonated with you. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon, very, very soon with another video. And as always, God bless.